So Slimebeast, a few days ago, you sent me a link to a video and said, I don't know anything about this guy, but it's interesting and I want to hear your take.
Huh?
And I clicked on it,
this.
and it was an individual named Vaush,
Voosh V?
and V-E-E-V. And, because of our history with Creepypasta and Creepypasta narrators and their many allegations of grooming, I thought you were just sending us something related to grooming and him just putting his foot in his mouth, because I have more prior knowledge about this guy just saying a bunch of weird things. But no, it was something else in our wheelhouse. He was talking about Creepypasta and saying a lot of, I guess not hot takes, like commonly held opinions. And it's weird because not long ago we did an episode of this, the Fear Fiction podcast, discussing, was Creepypasta always that bad? And the conclusion we came to was 90% of everything is bad.
So, who is this Vsauce guy that you're talking about? Why don't you tell the audience? Give like the abridged version of the abridged version. Of the abridged version.
Okay, if Vsauce came on and said, "All right, guys, hot take: Creepypasta is bad," I would just laugh. I would chuckle.
Yeah,
move on.
And his name is Vaush, just to be clear to the audience.
He's a political commentator guy. He's Slimebeast, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're like, in our private conversation, you just said, I think this guy says stuff before thinking about it.
Yeah,
and that's a good summation. It's not like getting into any of his individual opinions. It's just one of those things where when you're in that YouTube culture, when you're in that Twitch culture, it's all about having hot takes that people will react to and constantly saying stuff without thinking about it.
All right, we don't want to... We don't want to describe any of his, big ideas or any of his complicated thoughts. So, is there some kind of minor opinion you can tell us about?
Wow!
Oh, wow! But he's this political guy, but he's discussing Creepypasta. Trying to give his opinions on this. And wow, how can somebody have literally every wrong opinion on a subject?
Well,
like compounded rapid fire.
To be fair, some of it, it's like that thing where. Okay, you use the word "the," that's not incorrect. Like, there's certain things where it's like, okay, well, some of it may be basic thoughts that are like, okay, well, that's not.
Some of it's like very subjective of, I don't like this. And at that point, I'm like, that's fine. But then he goes on to say, and all creepypasta is blank because of that. Okay, hold on.
I think the perfect place to start is when he's talking about, I used to like Creepypasta when I was 12 years old, and then I grew up, and it was all, stories written by 12-year-olds for 12-year-olds, which is the exact phenomenon we described that is poisoning the reputation of Creepypasta, this idea of these people like, I grew out of that stupid thing. But it gets worse than that, because most of the time people will leave it at that. This guy is like, oh yeah, I wrote a creepypasta. No, I didn't release it. You'll never find it.
Yeah,
but I totally did better than you guys. That's
let's
put
set
it lightly,
the context
thing to say.
I used the creepypasta framework, but for good. Fuck off.
Let's set the context here. So he's on Twitch or whatever, and this was just a video that was uploaded. And he's saying, I'm writing something, and it's a creepypasta, so none of you are ever going to see it, and no one's ever going to know about it. It's not posted anywhere. And then at the 15-second mark, yes, I timestamped all this, and I hate that I've done that to myself. He says, like Brandon said, all creepypastas were written by 12-year-olds, and I was 12 when I read it, which factually incorrect.
Now, some of them are.
Board.
A good number of them are.
Sure.
11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 26-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 5-year-olds.
Yeah. And at that point, I was just thinking, okay, he's being facetious, because that is a common thing. Oh, creepypasta is just written and enjoyed by 12-year-olds. Like, it's a meme at this point. But then you slowly realize he's not joking because of what he says later. And he just kind of doubles down on that creepypasta has a singular, narrow framework, and that is its downfall.
Right.
So what point do we want to attack next?
He specifically says, one of the things he says is Sonic was never good. I mean, Slenderman was never scary. And,
he said it was mediocre.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, objectively, my opinion is correct. But
well, he says like Slenderman was only mediocre. What? Marble Hornets? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That should tell you everything
about,
again, going back to saying shit without thinking about it. Like, just don't put... Like, every time we talk about SCP, we always qualify of, like, this isn't our thing.
Right,
and every time we're pleasantly surprised, we're like, hey, we were pleasantly surprised. But, like, every time it's like, well, we don't get the lore. We don't understand this. What is this? It's not for us. It's a thing where he's, like, trying to claim this knowledge, but he doesn't have any knowledge. The thing that really stuck out to me was when he was talking about, like, you know what the problem with these stories are and why you can't get invested? They're horror stories. And, you know, there's no character-driven element here.
There's no like, character.
He said,
there's no characterization.
He said that the conceit of all creepypasta is this can happen to you. And thus, again, it is impossible to have any characters. Which is like...
Which, again, is so badly factually incorrect. Like, if you rattle off the top 10 most famous creepypastas, maybe 1 or 2 is second person,
right,
or something, or happening to.
And plus, you know, yes, there are a lot. There's a fuck ton of stories where the narrator of the story is a self-insert for the... Yeah, but, you know, in amongst those, there's also... You know, I went to my neighbor who, you know, was working out in his gym, and he said, you know, games are for babies, and he pushed me down the stairs, you know. Like, it's like, okay, well, you know, you have a character that's a meathead who doesn't like video games, you know. There's a character in it. He's not a self-insert position for somebody. You're not supposed to imagine your brother there or something.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because we're going to skip around a lot, but, like, towards the end of the video, he says, what really scares me is, I'll give you a scenario. You wake up, you go downstairs and you say hi to your family, you know, at the breakfast table, and they all look at you and they're staring at you for a bit too long. Like, that's what really scares me. And I'm thinking, so the scenario to you that is scary is something that literally can happen to you. Number one, you just described the thing you think is weak. And also there is characterization and relatability, because most people wake up as a kid and go down to meet their family. And yes, that would be weird. It's this weird, like, he comes around the horseshoe and then eventually just completes the circle. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, here's the thing. I'll maybe blow some minds here. When he says the scariest thing to him is something being a little off, people looking at you a little too long, people concentrating on you too hard, stuff like that, what he's describing as his greatest fear is imposter syndrome. Everybody's paying too much attention to me here. Why am I not blending in? Why are people concerned with what I'm doing? Oh, are they judging me? What's going on?
He makes mention of, like, there's little bits in here that I can latch onto and it's his subjective preference, right? I'm like, yeah, I can see that. For example, he didn't say this, but okay, he talks about the supernatural, and he says what's scary about the supernatural isn't what the actual thing is, but what it does to people. Example A, okay, the Blair Witch. Scary movie, not because you see the Blair Witch, but you see what it does to people.
Right.
Sure. But ask, you know, the random horror fan what their favorite scary movie is. It probably has an identifiable monster or something supernatural on screen that you do see.
Yeah, Alien, not scary. You could see the alien, not scary.
The Thing, not scary.
No, you know, every slasher movie, not scary. There's a slasher.
Yeah, even if you take it into a supernatural area, like you have Jason Voorhees. But, like, I think this idea of, you know, character-driven stories, it's like, well, does every story need to be character-driven? Like, does everything need to be a character study? That's such, like, a weird criticism to level against a medium or genre or whatever term you want to use, because, you know, as we've discussed a million times to death, creepypasta is basically a meaningless term. Why are we even recording this? Right. It's a short form, so, like, you're not going to have a whole lot of time for character development. If you have, like, a 2-paragraph slap fiction thing where it's just like, and then the, you know, ghostly hands pushed me off of the train tracks and I was saved as the car stalled. You know, that's still like a classic idea. You don't need a whole lot of character if what you're doing is 2 paragraphs long and a spooky event to turn around and say, like, well, that's a lesser form because it's short, is just, like, so asinine. Right. I don't understand it.
Well, it completely writes off, like, short stories, and he really, like, it's very telling.
And short story 1 specifically by name.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you dare touch short story 1. I'll kill you.
Short story 1 is precious.
Don't you dare.
Short story 1 could write a story called "A YouTuber named Vaush has been contacting me, and now I'm pregnant." Like,
I would read it.
my wife has been hanging out with someone named Vaush. Anyway.
My biggest fear is coming down for breakfast, and I'm greeted by my family, and all of them, my brothers, my sisters, and my parents, they're all pregnant.
And Vaush is at the table, just staring at me long.
They're all rubbing their stomachs.
Sorry,
go ahead.
He mentions FNAF at like a point because
we should that should be like a big reveal. That should be like. That's like the funniest part to me is he then cites FNAF. Like,
it is because it leads from what Brandon was saying about that it's writing off short stories because it says, okay, what would be scary, FNAF where they just describe what's happening to you, or a novel like the novelizations of FNAF.
Which he'll never read, by the way, and doesn't care to.
Which he admits.
Defeats his whole point.
Verbatim, which he said, I didn't read them and I'm not going to.
Right.
But it's like, dude, you just compared a video game to a novelization of said video game and then made a hypothetical about breaking FNAF down into a gaming creepypasta. Where is your point? Because you're just describing apples to mangoes point.
Well, see, there's a point, just to circle back a little bit. I wanted to, like we said, creepypasta is kind of a silly term. Short online horror fiction to me is more like the fan fiction world, where you have little kids writing, Adventure Time fan fiction. You have adults writing I fucked a pony, fan fiction. You have wide variety of all different types of stories from all different types of authors for all different intents and, different purposes and different meanings, different levels of quality, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I think FearFic is such a great term. It covers everything. You don't have to be like, creepypasta is all written by 12-year-olds. Like, well,
no.
Apply that to like I said, the fan fiction, world, short stories online, same, wide variety of people. You wouldn't say all fan fiction is written by 12-year-olds because it's like, no, definitely not. There are a lot of things out there where people are fucking Kylo Ren.
His approach is very. If we could apply it to a more popular medium, like it would be as if he said, I watched Inuyasha on Toonami back when I was 12. All of anime is really bad, isn't it?
It's all written by 12-year-olds.
Never minding the fact that anime is an enormous genre and there's a lot of bad stuff, sure. But you're writing off an entire, essentially, a genre of a medium. It's a very myopic view.
I think this Vaush dude, I think he doesn't understand the concept of a short story at all.
Probably not.
Because, toward the end of the video, and this relates to what we were talking about in the beginning here, toward the end of it he says, which would you rather read, chat? A story that just describes boom, 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 some things that happen, or would you rather read a novelization, which is all character-driven and so extended and, protracted? And people in the chat are saying one, and he's like, oh, you're fucking with me or you have bad taste. It's like, no, you're describing a short story, like, a story that can be a page, 2 pages, whatever, boom, 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 here's what happened, versus a novel, like Stephen King's 300-page, what's the latest thing with a psychic kid in it? It's you're not getting the fact that most creepypastas are short stories, and you're not getting the difference between a short story and a novel.
It's almost like what you're describing is what has happened to, creepypasta or whatever over the years because of multi-part fucking searching the forest, NoSleep stories.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exact thing that everyone is fucking fed up with. And for him to just talk about this and say yeah, no, it's, I want it to be this thing. It's like, that's the thing that we're trying to get away from. We're trying to make it smaller, to make it more contained, to go back to original ideas and not be hung up on following these tropes. And that's fine if you're new to a thing. Like me personally, right there now, as I'm saying this, I'm in the process of writing a fan fiction, which I have never done. And so I'm reading a lot of fan fictions and trying to figure out what it is. Hey, I've been out of this fan fiction world for a while and I'm interested in it. So I'm trying to immerse myself in that world. But it's just so fucking egotistical to be yeah, I'm writing a creepypasta, but I don't know anything about them, but mine's going to be better.
Well, but then he claims this is what really aggravated me. Like, there was a lot of points that aggravated me, but the worst sin, if I had to use a term, of this video was the fact that he predicates all of Creepypasta on the Pokepasta format. That is the only one he talks about.
Haunted
that is the
gaming,
only one.
Yeah,
like he that's the framework he talks about, and he says that these are indicative of the whole genre. That you're playing a video game and it's haunted, and it can only happen to you. Number one, that's not even true for all gaming gaming pastas at all. And two, he at one point says, like, what if it had characters and it was longer? I'm like, well, that's Godzilla NES. Number one, there is a gaming pasta that literally does what you want. And three, you are describing a subgenre of a niche. That is, like, again, how do you claim to know anything about Creepypasta but think all of it is Lavender Town?
Can we call him out real quick? This guy does not read.
No. If he doesn't read Creepypasta.
He possibly has listened to a few.
More likely than you think he.
I mean, the thing with the haunted gaming thing that really aggravates me, and, you know, it takes a lot to make me actually aggravated just by someone's opinion, you know, like in terms of shit like this. But the thing that aggravates me is he's like, you know, and all these pastas, you know, about the gaming and blah, blah, blah. He says, you know, and there's a ghost in it, and you immediately think it's a ghost. You don't think it might be a hack. You don't think it might be blah, blah, blah. And what's this ghost do? Why is a ghost in the game? That's so silly. Why would a ghost choose to be in a game if it could do anything it wants? And there is so much supposition of... he just is deciding unilaterally as he goes exactly what is in every story until he has one really small sliver of, like, the genre, which is... Here's a haunted game that actually had a ghost in it, and the narrator thought it was a ghost from the beginning, and it's like, most of the stories are not anything like that.
No.
You know, most of the stories are, I downloaded, even if we just talk just haunted game stories, so many of them are like, I downloaded a sketchy file. I thought it might be a cracked game. And then I thought it was hacked. Someone must be messing with me. But it couldn't be a hack because this supernatural thing happened. Right. And he's sitting there saying, why does everybody think it's a ghost? Why don't they think it's a hack? It's like, they all fucking say that. Every fucking story has that cliche.
100% of them.
Yes.
It is so stupidly reductive. And again, I agree with you. And I think Brandon would agree too. Like, a lot of people have bad takes on Creepypasta, and we don't, like, address them because whatever, it's your opinion. Yeah. But this dude, like, seriously presented this as an objective, you know, takedown of everything that a Creepypasta is. And...
Abysme, did you notice this? Did you notice the way that the camera's tilted? He's tilted the camera like a titty streamer, but instead of it aiming on his titties, it's aiming on his fucking forehead because he wants you to think that his brain is big. This guy's a fucking idiot.
Goddamn.
He is in a position that I don't understand why anyone would want to be in, which is, I'm going to sit and spout opinions on things on camera in a rapid-fire manner with an audience, which I don't care who you are, I don't care what your opinions are, you are setting yourself up to make mistakes constantly. That's going to be very difficult to take back because doing it live. We're going to fucking do it live.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't respect that, like, type of content because it breeds stupid shit like this.
I don't respect that.
God damn it.
Like, it's just, you know, I don't, and this always happens. People get caught out for this shit because they go on, they just dish out hot takes and then realize, maybe I hadn't researched that enough, but I was in the moment and I got to get my Twitch donations in. I got to get my biddies.
Isn't it funny, though, that he's just like, hey, what would you prefer, a short story that's punchy or a long-winded piece of shit? And everyone in the chat's just like, one. And it's just like, at some point, when you just, like, take the hint that your takes are stupid, like,
well, it extended farther than that, because in the comments of the YouTube video, because this was a clip, everyone was just, like, pointing out, you know, here's another example of a famous creepypasta that is nothing like you've described it, dumbass.
And what's funny too is like he very clearly has like a selected set of knowledge about this stuff of like Pokepasta, and he probably read a bunch of Pokepasta, And that's just his mindset. And so now, as he's older, again, he was a 12-year-old, now I'm adult, now I don't like it. Now he's like, hey, does that hold up? And he like looks for it. And the stuff he looks for is the stuff that he read when he was 12. And it's just like, oh, what do you know? The stuff targeted towards 12-year-olds.
Fucking confirmation bias.
Do you understand how Google works, you fucking idiot? It drives me up the wall. I don't understand it. And it's frustrating for us because we're trying to, we read a lot of stories. We read a lot of stories that we don't like, that we don't think are good. But every time we do it, it's out of love. It's out of like, hey, we think that this is doing this wrong, so here's a way that you could do that better. And we always come at it from a place of being humbled. And it's so goddamn frustrating whenever somebody's like, isn't this creepypasta bad? And it's just like, we're trying to elevate authors, not laugh at lolcow 12-year-olds who are writing a bad story. We're trying to like actually show you, here are the ways that you could do better. It's all about improvement. It's all about this community where everyone just writes amateur stories for the love of it. And it's always some outside asshole who's just like, it's for 12-year-olds.
Well, and he's such a fucking normie when it comes to this arena, because he
filthy
says
fucking casual. No, go ahead.
Seriously though, because he like at like at 2.5 minutes.
What are you talking about? He's not casual. He is the best creepypasta author ever, even though he's never written one and published it.
And you can't see it.
Well, someone in his chat brings up SCPs and says, "Oh, well, they're better because they're less restrictive."
Yeah.
And I had to pause and go, "What the fuck did you just say? Less restrictive SCPs?"
SCPs are better than creepypastas because you can really branch out and you don't have to worry about the format. And like,
well, he says they're little vignettes of like a short story. The thing you don't like? What the fuck is your opinion? What is it based on?
I hate stories where it just describes what happens, boom, 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 and that's it. By the way, here's an SCP. It's a hairbrush that turns your hair into gravy. The end.
The most fucking, like, intentionally so, formulaic, A, B, D, this is what your entry has to be. That rhymed.
Oh.
It's I don't know. I prefer SCP. What the fuck?
Hey, Slimebeast, what is your favorite character in the world of SCP?
Oh God, you know what? I really love Researcher.
Which one?
The one that's on like most of them.
Oh, you mean the really popular one?
Yeah.
Researcher XB32XY?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I really love I like Slinky Man. I actually like Slinky Man, and I love his characterization of being a Slinky and dancing.
No, unironically, Slinky Man is the best.
Yeah,
SCP,
he is great,
so...
but that's his character traits.
Everybody being SCP Slinky Man, because
shit's awesome.
Slinky Man's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating hearing all of this stuff, and again, going back to this idea of like confirmation bias, and he's reading these ones that are about Pokepastas and everything. It's crazy because even in the comments, people are probably like roughly his age, which is roughly our age, and they're posting stories that were absolute bangers that were being released at the same time that have aged like fine wine. They're like posting like, here's Psychosis, here's Been Drowned, here's like all of these
Candle
other
Cove.
things that are Candle Cove, Pen Pals. They're posting all of these like classic things, NES Godzilla, blah blah blah, posting all of these things that people really like and people generally hold the opinion hold up to time. And it's just like, but you did read Pokemon Strangled Red, and that did have hyper-realistic blood in it.
Well, that's like the other like frustrating but also like wonderful thing is the chat understood Creepypasta so wholly better than him. They said, ha ha, hyper-realistic blood, but also pen pal. Like, yes, we know there's stupid tropes in Creepypasta, but there's absolute bangers, like you said, in there. So, Vaush, what are you talking about?
I mean, you can't just sit there and say Creepypastas are all about these games where there's a ghost in the game and nobody ever thinks it could be a hack or a bug. To make that statement is just like saying, Creepypastas are all about kid in a hoodie who tells you go to sleep. It's like, that's one of them.
It makes you look like an uneducated
Slime Beast, that's like That's like 3 of them.
Well,
but your point remains.
I don't know.
That's like
I'm sure
17
some of them
them.
say go to sleep as well.
That's like 35 of them, probably.
There's just a series of teenagers that say go to sleep, and people say, "Why do you tell people that?" Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know what original guy did. I just heard it.
Society, I don't know.
Society.
In fact, we live in one.
But yeah, I like when he's discussing the ghosts in video games, saying, you know, if I found a ghost in my video game, I would
Right.
want to know what it's capable of, where it came from, and how to kill it. And it's like, okay, buddy, okay, what is that? There was like a sketch on Family Guy or something. Like, you know, I feel as tough as an Italian in a theoretical fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Where this guy says, if I was there, I would have knocked his head off. Again, if I had been there, and if it was me, I would have killed him.
Well, and
I want to know how to
that's
kill this
that's-
ghost.
That's
That's
a
what's
terrible
fucking
trope
stupid.
that comes up.
Say
That's
what?
a terrible trope that
Yeah.
a terrible trope that comes up every single time. Is like, you know what? There was a ghost, but I was a pretty hardcore gamer, so it didn't scare me.
I
Well,
picked
like,
up my Glock.
There's also like a bunch of stories that they still run afoul of the tropes, but it's, hey, I was 10, this happened. So at the very outset, you need to, as a reader, understand this is someone with stupid child brain, and they're not going to do the obvious thing. They're not going to have the hindsight you do here. And a lot of it, like, you have that couched in a story. I was a kid, I was dumb. These are the mistakes I made. So even that shows misunderstanding or just lack of understanding of a lot of creepypasta tropes.
Well, some people don't grow into adults. They just become older children, and it's
They
like
die as children. Yes.
Yeah. they just stay a child, and just time passes, and that's it.
But I think the idea of, like, here's what I think is scary. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that that's absolutely great. In
Right.
fact, what he was describing was a very subtle type of horror that we call ashcan horror.
Mhm.
And, it's the idea of this could actually happen to you. And this is a tall tale, so we're going to take realistic things and sprinkle in a little bit of insanity. He's on to something, but we've been having this discussion in this community for a while. And it's just frustrating that, this outsider is like, hey, these crazy opinions. And if it was one crazy opinion, I don't think we would have talked about this
No.
for as long as we have.
Right.
It was
rapid
15
fire.
minutes. 15 minutes solid of contradictory, insane opinions that we just have to say something because we care about creepypasta.
I just
Yeah.
have to say, he
I'll
proposes.
tell you this. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
this.
I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you this. Not all creepypastas, and I'll tell you this. Not all. Pardon me.
There was good creepypastas on both sides.
Yeah. God damn it.
It depends on the creepypasta.
Fuck. All right. So the thing is, he proposes this concept of coming downstairs and your family's looking at you a little strange, and they're all watching you too often. But that is not scary. That is objectively not scary. That is stupid. That would only be scary to a 12-year-old. Because what happens is, if you come downstairs and your family is all looking at you, what you immediately think is that it might be a surprise party coming up, or that you have a trip to Disney World that they're going to tell you about. You would be happy. You wouldn't be scared. And this subjective opinion of mine is fact. Your idea is not scary.
Can we coin a term here? It's a Vaush take if it's completely unfounded and stupid and like just shows that you don't know what you're talking about. I got a Vaush take here.
Abysme, I hate to tell you this. I think a lot of people have that exact opinion, but not just about creepypasta.
God damn it.
Exactly. So we can take it to anything, really.
Yeah, no, there you go.
Yeah.
You're having a Vouch take about Vouch takes.
Oh boy.
You know, this Vaush dude, he sounds like somebody who would post his story on NoSleep, get like 5 upvotes after 24 hours, and then delete it in a rage. Like, they didn't recognize my genius. Fuck them.
You know what? You know
Precisely
what?
what it
He would post his sleep and it would get deleted for not being horror because he didn't put enough overt stuff in it. And he would go, "What the fuck?"
Your family staring at you? Try making it 5 monsters.
Are they cryptids? If not, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Which would be unfair and stupid, and I wouldn't delete that story.
Yeah.
I would have opinions about it, but at the same time, like, yeah, I kind of want to.
Are you saying you don't believe in internet censorship, Abysme?
I would love to see him do that and see what happens, because
Nut up or shut up.
really, yeah. Like
These
if you're gonna
these 12-year-olds are ballsy enough to throw their dumb Pokepastas out there, and we laugh at them and give them feedback on our podcast. Why are you such a bitch that you can't release your creepypasta if it's so breathtaking?
Yeah.
Be how old is he? I'm gonna guess
Be the
30.
change
Probably
that
like
you probably can.
Yeah, I was gonna say he seems like he's probably 33. Be the 33-year-old you want to see in creepypasta.
Mhm.
Blow away all the 12-year-olds. Wait, no, don't take that the wrong way.
God damn it.
No, I mean in writing.
And just fanfiction.
In the video.
What a terrible place to end it. But we'll
Nah,
figure
fuck
it
it,
out.
we'll do it.
We'll figure it out.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Subscribe to FearFic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.